There's a good old saying, you can get with this or you can get with that. The choice is yours. 49ers Brandon Aiyuk may have to make one of the toughest decisions. The ball is in his court, or is it? We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into some 49ers camp recap and all the good 49ers stuff right after this on the WayneBreezie Show. Stick around.
So bright that we shine. All we do is the Niners. Red and gold at its finest. So faithful to the Bay.
What's going on, faithful to the Bay? Make some noise. We back. It's Monday. We in full effect. I see the chat out there. Y'all popping. Everybody in there. It's good to see y'all. Alejandro was the first in the building. Make some noise for Alejandro. What's going on, baby? I'll shout out the crew in a minute. But it's Monday. It's nothing to break. It's really nothing to talk about because there's no camp today. But I tell you what, there's a lot of stuff that happened over the weekend. We'll talk about Patrick Willis's enshrinement to the Hall of Fame. Round of applause for Patrick Willis. We got Frank Gore being inducted into the Eddie DeBartolo Hall of Fame. Week 1 of the NFL. Round of applause for Frank Gore. Oh, man. So much, right? I got some updates on the 49ers salary cap. I was saying to myself, good Lord, they got a lot of money to spend. What will they do with it? We'll talk a little bit about that. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about Brandon Aiyuk. We have to talk about Brandon Aiyuk because Brandon Aiyuk, and I'll give you my take at the very end, but Brandon Aiyuk has some decisions to make, right? He has some decisions to make. I don't think Brandon Aiyuk has any leverage, but we'll discuss that, all right? I don't think he has any leverage as far as, what he can do, but we'll discuss it. I promise you we'll get to it. Shout out to everybody out there. The Breezy Bunch crew is in the building. This show is brought to you by Residency, all right? Use the promo code SFBreezy. All right, you can go to www.residency.com. As you can see, I'm wearing some of the exclusive hats that they have on there. And I'm going to keep it a buck. As a hat guy, these hats are top quality. It doesn't matter if you get the Velcro back, the snap back. They don't do fitted caps as of yet. I'm definitely hoping that we get to that very shortly. But they got really good quality hats, all right? So if you guys are New Era fans, or Mitchell & Ness fans, or the 47 brand fans, come and become a Residency fan right now. Use my promo code, though, SFBreezy, so you can save on your total purchase. Let's give a shout-out to some of the members of the Breezy Bunch crew, those that are first in the building. Manly's in here, man. He was in here, bro. What's going on, family? Happy Monday, Wayne, Niners, Faithful, and the crew. Ben in the building, Grand Rising, Wayne, chatting everyone else rocking with us. See, when y'all say stuff and I read it, it reminds me, it makes me have to go back to things that I have questions about. So I just happened to be watching something, right? First of all, social media, people just put out way too much stuff. I just happened to be watching something, and this lady said that she no longer says good morning because of she feels like she found out the meaning of the word good morning, like where the phrase came from. I'm not gonna get into it, and she said that's why it's best to say grand rising or grand closing, grand opening. I don't know, Ben, if that's why you're saying grand rising or not. I'm just curious to know, but thank you for tuning in. Don't Bother Me is in the building. What's going on, family? Good to see you. Jack's 49er girl Knox says the never-ending saga. Please get something resolved soon. Our fans gonna run themselves crazy. Crazy. So many, on the other hand, gonna let the play out. Oh, good morning. Good morning to you. You just got your take off early. I'm not mad at that. Take off early. I'm not mad at that. Ronnie 33's in the building. Hope Carbana. I was about to ask you, was Carabana, was it on point? I was gonna ask you that. Was it on point? PG, what's going on? It's in the building. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. Please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Because what we're doing this season is the chat is only for subscribers only. So if this is your first time watching, if YouTube recommended it, go ahead and click that subscribe button. That way you could become a member of the live chat. That is on and popping. on and popping. I see some super chat contributions coming in, so I'm going to like them, love them, and I'm going to read them very shortly. Let me just finish getting my shout outs. Colin is in the building. What's going on, Colin? My boy Matthew in the building says good morning to the faithful Marty Marr 49er Empire. Breezy, if you're playing your soundboard, you're not hearing it. Got you. I don't know why. I see. You know what? Updates happened, so I had to update everything. And when I updated everything, oh, maybe I have to update this. So hold on 1 second. Let's get this fixed right. That's why. Damn, yo. All I did was one little update. All right, can you guys hear me clearly now? And my bad. We're gonna give everybody a round of the goddamn applause. Here it is. And thank you for being out there. Thank you for being out there and just helping me work through some of these things. So there was an update to the software, and then the software updated, but then StreamYard, I guess, decided to switch things because of the update. So if you guys updated, here's the super chat. Here's the super chat sounds. We're going to get to these right now. We got the goal going. I'm looking to do a live call-in show for you guys, but we got to reach the goal. So click on that goal. We got 2 already in there. We need 8 to go. We get 10. The next episode will be a live call-in show. And it's not going to be call-ins where you can call on your phone because I can't figure that out. The app doesn't want to work properly, but you can join me right here live and get your takes off right here. So the sound effects should be on and popping. Just had to do a little quickity switchity rooey of the thing. All right, let me get to the super chats early since they're here, and then we'll get into the show. We got some accolades. We want to talk about Patrick Willis. We want to talk about all these famous people that are finally getting their due. You know what I mean? They're getting their due. Jack's girl Knox says, Jack up in this B. Nah, for real. Good morning. Well, thank you for that super chat, for letting everybody know you're here. I think everybody can read clearly because it says Jack's 49er girl Knox inside the chat, but we appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for letting everybody know that you up in here, up in this beer. You know what I mean? All right. Peachy with the super chat. She says, I want the 49ers to take care of Trent and B.A. I like that as a combo taken care of. If they trade B.A., we better make it worth our while. Congratulations, P. Willie, my Tennessee home. Patrick Willis is from Tennessee. I feel like I should know that, but I didn't know he was from Tennessee. Interesting. All right, so that's what's up. I didn't know that. All right, so thank you so much, Peachy, for the super chat. Thank you, Jax, for the super chat. And Jax definitely comes back and says, I need y'all to quit being... I can't read this. Nobody's being cheap. You can't say that they're being cheap. All right, I'm going to read it because you pay for it, so I got to read it. You pay for it, I read it. That's the rules. I don't make up the rules. That's the rules of the super chat. You pay for it, I read it. All right, as long as it's not offensive. I'm not going to read no offensive stuff. And that's not, Jax, that's not what you're doing. But I'm just taking, in future guys, that people that give super chats, I need y'all to quit being cheap and give $5. Joking. You put the joking in there. For real. How come we got to put I got a question about the joking. Why isn't it just JK? Why do we have to put a slash? And joking is one word. So why do we put a slash in it? You know what I'm saying? I'm just asking. I don't know. I feel like I can ask questions. This is to anybody out there that may know. Help me reach the goal. All right, let's reach the goal. The goal is for you. You do that, we do extra show. You know what I mean? All right. I just found out that Patrick Willis was from Brewston, Tennessee. That sounds country. It does not sound slow. It just sounds country. I just want to put that on there. Lake City, what's going on, baby? Mark's in the building. What's good, guys? You guys are the real MVPs. All right, you ready? So let's talk about Patrick Willis, man. What a night. Did you guys get a chance to hear his speech? It was good to hear from his sister. His sister brought him out. I thought that was so dope. And I like the simple fact that, you know, Patrick Willis didn't focus on like his football accomplishments and all the things he did. I mean, he thanked the football community. I felt like collectively, he kind of reached out to, I think he thanked his, if I'm not mistaken, like his high school coach, like personally, but like he didn't thank Jim Harbaugh personally or anything. He thanked them all collectively, but he really wanted to talk about like his upbringing, like where he came from and, you know, and kind of like where he is and how he got here and all that good stuff. And, you know, as I was watching the speech, I was saying to myself, don't do anything that's going to make me break down in tears. And he held it down. I felt like Patrick Willis held it down for that. Like, not that it was about me or anything like that. I just didn't want to cry. And then he saved like the best thank you for last. You know what I'm saying? And the best thank you, if you guys know about Patrick Willis, if you know about his story, you know about the story between him, his mom, his late mother that's no longer with us. Like, he saved that for last, and I just thought that was like, it was just like a tearjerker, and it was just like, oh man. And I think it was smart, because I felt like if he would have talked about his mom a little bit earlier, he might have broke down like early, like, you know, like Andre, like he just might have gave you the like a little bit early. But you know, it was really cool to hear from Patrick Willis again. I wish his career didn't come to an end so quickly, even though 8 seasons is a long time. Like, 8 seasons is a long time, especially he accomplished what most players accomplish in like 12 years. You know what I'm saying? He did it in 8, you know, a bunch of all pros first team, a couple of second all pro teams, a bunch of Pro Bowl teams. The only thing he didn't get was the Super Bowl, right? That's the only thing he didn't accomplish. So, you know, congratulations. Oh, joking means just kidding. It could be me just kidding. Thank you for saying that, Thomas. Appreciate that. So it could be, you know, I thought that was spot on. I thought Patrick Willis is just a standout guy. And I think the coolest part was everybody that was there to support him. Shout out to Jim Harbaugh for chartering a plane, getting a bunch of the what do you call them? What do you call the alumni? Like, the alumni of the Jim Harbaugh era came together. It was good to see my boy Bowman in the building, and a lot of the other players. Joe Staley. Joe Staley. Ooh, I got a question. Will Joe Staley be a first ballot Hall of Famer? He is up for the Hall of Fame next season. Joe Staley and Vernon Davis. Will they be first ballot, Hall of Famers in 2025? Will they be first ballot? Put your comments in the comment section. All right, make sure you do that. I'll try to read a couple of those. Peachy says yes, he better be. You think both of them will be? That's the question now. I kind of changed it up on you. Like, you know, that's what we do. We just change up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't really help it. I think Joe Staley should be. Vernon Davis is going to be a tough one. That's a nice class. That's a good class. But it's a possibility. Collie, what up? It's a good possibility that Vernon Davis and Joe Staley, the two 49ers on 2025's Hall of Fame class, will get inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then after that, there's going to probably be a huge drought of 49ers. So I'm trying to get them in, like, right? And enjoy them being selected. Does anybody know when Frank Gore when Frank Gore, speaking of Frank Gore, we'll talk about him. But does anybody know when Frank Gore is going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame? That should be coming up soon as well. And I think he would probably be the last 49er that will get in until, you know, we get to some of these current guys. Mark says, Staley, no, because he was never considered the best left tackle in the league at the time. That's a good point. I hope the sound effects work now, because that's a good point. He was the best left tackle because we knew he was great. But in the time he played in the league, it was all about the dude from Joe. It was all about Joe Thomas. Think of some of the other left tackles. But in that class, there's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? In that class, he might have a possibility. Right, I got to look at see who the other left tackles or the other tackles or other offensive linemen that are on that list. But this is a good point, Mark, and thank you for bringing that up. Class of 2026, so will be Frank Gore's eligibility. So I got a tough question. I do want to congratulate Frank Gore. Let's talk about Frank Gore. I'm sure we did it on another episode, but I don't think I did it on the WayneBreezie show. He's going to be inducted into the 49ers Hall of Fame this season. So round of applause for Frank Gore. And, you know, the well-deserved. Like, this dude rushed for 16,000 yards. Like, you know what I'm saying? 16,000 yards. I think that's crazy. And then retired, right? I think that was the number he got to, 16K, and then just decided to say this is it. You know what I'm saying? Um, so like Frank Gore, will he eventually be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Like, and was he the best running back in that? You know what, Mark, you brought up a great point. Because people like guys that were great for the 49ers doesn't necessarily mean that they were great in the league at the time that they played. And I'm not saying Frank Gore wasn't. I'm not saying, and we're talking about first ballot. We're not talking about like eventually. I think guys will eventually get in. We're talking about first ballot. I feel like Vernon Davis probably was one of the best tight ends in the league. So would he get in over Joe Staley? You know, talking about that, that's a possibility, right? Like there's a possibility that he gets in over Joe Staley, right? But you know, when you look at Frank Gore, he put up really good numbers, really solid numbers. I don't think he was necessarily the best running back in the league, but he was I felt like he was a top running back. Like I don't see how he shouldn't get into the Hall of Fame. So he's going to be inducted into the 49ers Hall of Fame, and then in 2026 he'll be eligible for the National Football Hall of Fame. All right. So after Frank Gore, I think that's going to be it for a while for the Niners. Right. That's when the drought happens. That's how we just got to take a chill pill for a little bit, because I can't think of any other 49er players that might be eligible for Hall of Fame. Now, will Frank Gore get in over Roger Craig? And was Roger Craig that guy when he played? Like, there's got to be. I can't figure out why Roger Craig's not in the Hall of Fame. I know this is not about Roger Craig. We're talking about Frank Gore right now, but I can't figure it out. I can't wrap my mind around it. I feel like there's some politics as usual in that, but I'm hoping Frank Gore gets in. Great guy, great person, great human being. Was a phenomenal football player. One of the toughest running backs as well, and his durability in the NFL was uncanny. Right, like he got hurt in college at Miami, and then after that came to the NFL and was just like healthy for umpteen years, with a lot of years, right? So Frank Gore, congratulations for being inducted into the Eddie DeBartolo 49ers Hall of Fame. Who's going to that game? How many people are going to Week 1's game? Because you're going to get, some good old 49er ass whipping. Plus, you get to see the enshrinement of Frank Gore. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Salty says Gore should be in the Hall of Fame, period. You know what I mean? And that's the key. Like, was he dominant at his position? Was he dominant at that time? You hear what I'm saying? Like, was he dominant? And if he was he the most dominant? And Mark, I keep calling you out, Mark, because I didn't think of what you said until you said what you said. And as much as I loved Joe Staley, he was the best, like, left tackle for the 49ers. You know what I'm saying? And so it was just like, yeah, he was great, but he was great for us, and he was great to us. It was that the league was tough with tackles, offensive linemen. There were guys that stood out. There were guys that were better. Because I keep saying, like, when you look at Trent Williams is better than Joe Staley. Joe, you might not like it, but he's better. And Trent Williams is the best offensive lineman in football, in my opinion, even at an old age. That's what I like about offensive linemen, man. If they can play. If they stay healthy, they could play for a good period of time. And so Trent Williams, to me, is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Got to get him that Super Bowl, though. Got to get him that Super Bowl. Thomas says that Craig, and I know this is what happened. He didn't fumble once. I think he fumbled twice. But those can't hold on to him. They can't hold on to that. This long time. That happened a long time ago. I mean, cats fumbled all the time. And quarterbacks throw interceptions. Cats fumble. I don't know. But it is something to think about. But we definitely want to congratulate those guys out there that have put in the hard work. And here's the thing, getting back to Patrick Willis. Dang, I can't remember the quote. So I'm going to do my best to try to paraphrase it. All right. And maybe I'll get it right. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll get it right. Patrick Willis said this: it's not about how long you play. It's about the impact you have when you play. Now, I don't know if you said it verbatim like that, but that is the key. When you play this game, do you make an impact? And I know Patrick Willis wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, but dag on it, he made an impact on this game. He changed the way they ruled the game. I mean, he literally took some players out. I mean, they didn't go off on carts, but I'm sure, I know Brad Smith got up, but I ain't heard his name ever since that game. I know Reggie Bush got up, but he crawled off the field. There's another player that crawled off the field too. Like I'm just saying, like he made the NFL change the way you hit guys. Patrick Willis was a hitter, phenomenal player. So regardless if he only played 8 seasons, just check his resume and check the impact. And I think that's fine. Was it a second ballot Hall of Fame? Was he second ballot, second or third? I can't remember. But my point is, eventually he was definitely going to get in, and he got in, and that's the only thing that matters at this point. It's the only thing that matters. Dion, what's going on, bro? He says that's a fantastic quote. That quote just resonated in my spirit, bro. Resonated in my spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? Donnie, what's going on, baby? The impact. Oh, Donnie, y'all know who Donnie is. This is my brother from another mother. He says the impact of Pat leaving really showed the impact he had when he played. And how cool was it to pass the torch to Navarro Bowman too, right? And Navarro Bowman was like, oh, this is the legacy? Cool beans, I got it. I got it from here. And then he gave us great years, right? So Bowman might be eligible. We'll see what happens. That might be another 49er. We'll see what happens. All right. So for those that are going out to that week 1 game, enjoy it. That's going to be cool to see Frank Gore. If you never got a chance to meet him, man, I hope you guys get a chance to meet Frank Gore. All right, let's talk about this really quickly. We don't have to spend too much time. The NFL Top 100 is official. It's in the books. It's closed. Bang, bang. All right, so it's done. The 49ers, I believe, have 9 players. And I know people. So look, I feel like the Niners should have had more than 9 players. That's just me personally. I want to know how you feel. But is there any 49er that you feel the players overlooked? Pick one. You can only pick one. Don't give me 2. Don't give me 3. Pick a player, and I will put it up here. We'll discuss it for a couple of minutes. Is there a player on the 49ers that you felt got left out off the top 100? Now, the highest ranked 49er was Christian McCaffrey. He was number 3. So the 49ers got 2 players in the top 10. Christian McCaffrey at 3, who moved way up, and Trent Williams at 7, who moved way up, right? And then you got Fred Warner at 11. You got George Kittle at 14, right? That's 4 right there. And then there's 5 more players, if I'm not mistaken. So 9 is a lot. Right? It's a lot, right? 9 is a lot, and I like it. But it could have been a cool 10. It could have been a cool 10. All right, so let me go through the chat. Mark starts off and says, that's the first name I see. I'm putting it up there. Mooney. Let's see how many wards we get. Peachy, Ward, same guy. My man DeMarcus, Mooney. Go out support this brother Marcus too as well, man. He is a phenomenal, what do you call it when you create, like, he's a phenomenal cook. But he makes his own spices. So I don't know what you call that. Scientist, food scientist, I don't know. But support him. He's got his own rubs. Support the rub. The rub is important. DeMarcus, what's good? What's good, bro? I'm trying to see. I don't want to know if somebody was on there. I got you, Luke. But I want to know which 49er that played should have been on there. Jack says Ward for sure. We talked about that. Johnny East over on Facebook, Lenore. Yeah. Dog. I would have been happy with 1 of the 2. I'm gonna keep it a buck. That's just me. That's just me, period. All right. I'd have been happy with 1 of the 2. He said Lenore. Uncle Salty was no. He was not on the list. He was not on it. He wasn't. So here's the thing, Uncle Salty. Let me sip my. He wasn't even on the players that got snubbed list. So my issue is, you know, and I didn't think about this. Let me see if I could create. Does Ward get the respect he deserves? Let's have a quick conversation. This is the WayneBreezie show. And so I want to know from you. That's why I'm here. I'm here to talk to you. Congratulations to all the 49ers players that made the top 100. Love y'all. Keep grinding. My thing is do it again. Right? Do it again. And Brandon Aiyuk made it. Dre Greenlaw made it. I feel like I'm missing some people, but you know, Deebo Samuel made it. He was 30. Brock Purdy made it. He was 28. And Nick Bosa made it. He was 27. Did I get everybody? I think I got on 9. So congratulations to those guys. All right. Now let's talk about this. Just in general, I love Deommodore Lenoir and Charvarius Mooney-Ward. Both guys going to be up for contracts, but that's not the question I'm asking. I'm asking, does Charvarius Ward get the credit that he deserves in the NFL? And so when you look at the NFL Top 100, you got to understand that that list is based off the players, not anything else. But here's the thing. Mooney-Ward was an all-pro. So I can understand leaving Deommodore Lenoir off the list. I can understand overlooking Deommodore Lenoir. But how do you overlook an all-pro cornerback that led the league in PBUs? So he might not have led the league in interceptions, which I felt like he had like 5 of them things. Hold on. 2023 NFL interception leaders. You know I'm going to look it up. You know I'm going to look it up. I mean, you know I'm going to look it up. Who y'all got? Let me see. I'm going to use ESPN lists. I know it. I'm a smart motherfucking individual. Here we go. He was tied for 4th in interceptions with Rasul Douglas from Buffalo, Derek Stingley Jr. from Houston, Tyrann Mathieu, and that was it. That was it. I'm lying. He was tied for 4th. There was only 3 people in the NFL with 5 interceptions. But did you hear what I said? He had 23 pass deflections, pass breakups. Ain't nobody. That means they tested him all season long. He was tested. How do you leave as a player? How do you overlook that? I feel like this should be on the B.A.M show because I'm getting way too excited. I try to keep it mellow, jello on this show because it's early during the day and I know y'all at work. I don't want y'all to get fired because this dude yelling. But how do you leave Ward off this list? 23 PDs or PBUs, however you want to define it. And I know you don't just go off of PBUs, but that's a stat. I'm sorry. That's a stat. I mean, which PBUs, interceptions. So it's not like, all right, so PBUs, but then he was tied. I said he was tied for what? 4th? He had 1 less interception than Jesse Bates, who was the highest ranked safety or graded safety on that list. He had 1. Jesse Bates had 6. Oh, let me tell you how many PDs Jesse Bates had. Hold up. Word to my Kasubi thinking we gon' play. Now he had 11. I think a lot of people, and he plays safety, so it's a totally different position. But at the end of the day, that's crazy. So I feel for Mooney-Ward. Like I feel like he's just not respected, and it's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? It's totally unfortunate. And I'm hoping. If I'm Mooney, if you watching, because I know you be watching, bro. If you're watching, or when you watch this episode, please just use that to add fuel to the fire. Because I feel like you trying to. I feel like the attitude that you have right now is you the best in the league, and that's how you need to be. And I feel like Mooney-Ward going to lead the league in interceptions this year. I know that's tough. I know it's tough. but he was an all-pro. And then there's Jalen Johnson. He's not a Niner, but I don't get how you leave two all-pros off the list. And the funny thing about this, Thomas, is Jalen Johnson spoke about it. And so he was tight. So Mooney Ward, not that type of person. He doesn't have, meaning that he doesn't have that type of personality to talk about it. Like, he's just going to go out on the field and show it. I'm telling you right now, a healthy Mooney Ward this year, coming into camp healthy. Remember, he dealt with some injuries last year. I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves, but I think he's going to come in here and ball out with his, he's going to rock out with his, he's going to ball out. I can feel it. John Chapman in the building with a crazy super chat. John, why do you super chat, bro? Love you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat contribution. WayneBreezie is the best in the league. Right? Yep, right behind John Chapman. That's right. I'm right. I'm the best behind John. John, you are the man. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Guys, make sure you support the 49ers rush. All right, road trip this year. They're going to be everywhere, okay? They're going to be everywhere. And I'm glad that he continues to grow that platform for the community to come together and celebrate and have fun with the 49ers, man. I think that's pretty cool. John, thanks for joining, man. I appreciate you, bro. At the end of the day, though, hey, John, let me ask you this question. Does Mooney Ward get the respect he deserves? We ain't talking about, Jimmy Ward. We talking about Mooney. We talking about Mooney Ward. Does he get the respect that he deserves in the NFL? Here's some news updates for the 49ers reported by Aaron Wilson as well, because I know people be like, yo, why we work? 49ers are working out two more receivers. Now, listen, I talked about one last night. His name is Mike Harley Jr. He was an undrafted free agent to Cleveland Browns in 2022. Doesn't have any stats out there, but they will be working him out, as well as Monroe Young today. So these guys will be working out today for the 49ers, and there's possibility that they sign one or maybe even two. It's preseason week, and none of the starters are playing. I can tell you that right now. So since the starters aren't playing, some of the starters not even there. All right. And so since the starters not playing, no Debo, no this, no that, the Niners need depth. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if any of these guys, rock out with the Niners this week come preseason time. So, Aaron Wilson, thank you for the updates. Appreciate you, homie. We got a couple of new guys that's going to be potentially be 49ers. John says, nope. He put it in, nice colloquial language. No, he does not. But the way I read that was nope. No, he does not. Spells Nope. I just don't understand. But you know what? When you're thoroughly disrespected, that's when you show up. And Mooney's playing on a contract this year, playing for a contract this year. It's about to get real up in the field. All right, before we recap training camp, the Niners have some money. Okay, I don't know what the money's going to be used for, but they currently have spot rack. They have over the cap. Excuse me. They got some bread. Like they got about 50 million just chilling in cap space. 52 to be exact, if I'm not mistaken. So the Niners got some bread. Give me a second. I'll try to share the screen because I know y'all think I'm lying, but I'm not. And it's interesting because what will the 49ers do with this cap space? I mean, I think that's the ultimate question. Like, what do they plan to do with the cap space? I know my simple self feels like the San Francisco 49ers are going to get some extensions done, right? I mean, like that would be ideal for the 49ers. I mean, they got the bread, so let's get these extensions done, right? So what will they do with this cap space? And that's crazy. $52,261,929 the 49ers have freed up right now. And don't forget, if they do extend Brandon Aiyuk and sorry, my apologies. When they extend Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams, when, not if, it's always when. When they extend these guys, they're only going to free up more cap space. You know what I mean? They're only going to free up more freaking cap space, all right? So the Niners should have some money that they're playing around. Now, some of it will roll over into next year. I'm sure of it. Some of it's going to be if they need to pick up some type of free agent that, throughout the regular season, God forbid something happens, and there's not a lot of guys that's going to be lingering around. You know what I mean? But we'll see what happens. Like, we'll definitely see what happens. But I think some of this money is going to go toward a new Trent deal. And you got to allot that Brandon Aiyuk deal that's probably just out there on the table, just chilling, sitting on about $500,000. So, look, the Niners got money. What are they going to do with it? Y'all can miss me with the Brock Purdy stuff. That ain't until next year. And I guarantee you the Niners won't even let that go into some type of contract negotiation. That contract will get done before the season is like, once the Niners season is over, Brock Purdy will be extended. I can tell you that right now. So if it's after the Super Bowl, it'll be after the Super Bowl. If we don't make it to the Super Bowl, it'll be when the season ends. I feel like Brock Purdy will be extended. It won't go into some type of like debate, like or whatever, litigation, whatever you want to call it. It ain't gonna go that far. They're gonna make sure if they believe in Brock, Brock's the guy, they're gonna lock the quarterback in. We got another super chat contribution from Jax while we're talking about this salary cap. What do you guys think that the Niners are going to do with this cap space? Let me know in the comment section. Jax says, let me piggyback off of John. Yes, Wayne is the best to do it. Jax, thank you. Appreciate that. Jax and John. Y'all should do a show. Jack and John. That'll be kind of cool. JJ. And then focus on JJ. No? 15? Nah, y'all don't get it? All right, cool. Whatever. Anyway, Parag's got some work to do. John Lynch's got to get these contracts and situated and things like that. But we'll see what happens, man. PG says pay Trent. Like, you got to pay Trent. Like, you got to pay him. You got to pay Trent. Ooh, I got a question for you. Okay. So does Trent get paid what he's asking for? Did the Niners cave in on Trent and not cave in on Brandon Aiyuk? And if they do cave in on Trent, the Niners cannot sign Trent Williams first. Because if they do, I feel like they're caving in. But how would that's gonna make, I feel like that's gonna make stuff weird. Oh, you chose that motherfucker over me? Like that. I know that's not Brandon Aiyuk style. I know it's not. But that's the soap opera the Niners are creating, right? I'm sorry. Every freaking year, I say that the Niners are the soaps. Every year. Has not failed. I don't think it ever will fail. And it ain't got nothing to do with Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch. The Niners have been the soaps for the longest time. They have been the soaps. So if they cave in on Trent, ooh, which is the right move. You give him what he wants. I think the issue with Trent, though, the Niners, though, will be like, okay, but what age does the decline start? I mean, I know we're not seeing it at this moment, but what age does that decline actually kick in? That's where it gets a little weary. I think that's where it gets a little crazy. You know what I mean? I think that's where it gets a little crazy. So we'll see what happens. All right, we'll see what happens. But that's the cap space for the Niners currently as of today. Will it change today? I don't know. You know, it depends if they work out a deal. Now, I know over the weekend I talked about 49ers before we get into the Brandon Aiyuk situation. I know I talked about the Niners, we did a show about a deal possibly being imminent, meaning close to going down based off of the greeting, the handshake, the body language, the movements, things like that. Had nothing to do with the Colin Cowherd tweet, which said that there should be some 49ers, Brandon Aiyuk news coming soon, basically is what he said. Didn't say if it was going to be positive or negative, so people took that. Me personally, I feel like Brandon Aiyuk is going to sign. I don't feel like the 49ers are going to. Now, this is my personal take. I don't feel like the 49ers are going to trade Brandon Aiyuk, but there's always a but. Why? Because there's always a team that's willing to overpay, right? So, this past weekend, like during the training camp sessions, some stuff was going down, and we'll get into that. But let's just recap training camp very quickly from day 10. John has actually been at most of the camp, so John has really good insights. Make sure you follow him as well. This is per Nick Wagner. Just wanted to go through some of these notes and observations from day 10. All right. And so here we go. Another long practice and a vet day for Deebo Samuel. So here's the cool thing. Like, Deebo wasn't there. It's his first day off, well-deserved day off. I felt like Deebo's been the best offensive player in camp thus far. And so he had a day off. He gave us 9 full days before he actually took a day off. And so he didn't participate, but this is a good way for Brock. And you heard Brock speak. This is a good way for him to get, in sync and in tune with the other guys, just in case Deebo's not there or whatever. All right, so here are some of the other non-participants. Malik Turner, he limped off the field. Elijah Mitchell, I feel like this was the first practice he missed. Linebacker Demetrius Flanagan fouls. He's been in and out at various points in camp. Ben Barch and defensive lineman Sam Okwuegbunam. I felt like I said that right. All right. Christian McCaffrey did the individual drills, but did not participate in the 11 on 11. So 11 on 11 is offense versus defense. Full offense versus full defense. For those that don't know what 11 on 11s are, that's what it is. All right. And so some other guys, Mitch Wishnowsky, Brandon Aiyuk, obviously is holding in. I'm not sure what's going on with Money Mitch. All right, don't know the story behind why he's not in, but hopefully that'll break. Darrell Luter Jr., who I'm definitely pulling for. Tight end Logan Thomas with a hamstring. Isaac Arendo hamstring. Pat Elflein calf. Guard Spencer Burford with a broken hand. Jacob Cowan with the hamstring, and wide receiver Tay Martin hamstring. Now I think Cowan did return to practice. I think he was there for day 9. Day 10, but just didn't participate, if I'm not mistaken. Curtis Robinson returned to practice, but was held out of team drills. Wide receiver Danny Gray, he landed awkwardly on his arm and shoulder on a deep incompletion, per Nick Wagner. Something to monitor on Tuesday when they return to practice. Now, Danny Gray has been banged up. Like, this won't be the first time he's dealing with some type of injury. So this is going to be interesting. I know the Niners got a lot of wide receivers, but it's going to get interesting for sure. All right, he says, with so many moving parts coming off of a long practice, today was a logical day to try some new combinations, various spot starters. Ronaldo Green started at the nickel. Rocky Ascend started outside, free agent that they picked up. D. Winters was the will linebacker, and Jalen Graham played at the Sams. Come on, Sams. So he played at the Sam. All right, so you got Jalen Graham playing the strong side. You got D. Winters playing the weak side, which is good because I want to know, can D. Winters be the Dre Greenlaw of this defense? Like, can he play on that side? Can he drop back in coverage? Can he cover? Can he do this? And so that's some good stuff to talk about. It was a solid day for Brock Purdy. He said he only had 3 incompletions and 14 attempts by his count. All right, one of them would have been a sack. Now, they play, even though if there's sacks, you heard Brock Purdy talk about it, there's times where it's considered a potential sack, but they just keep playing on just to test the window, see if they can still get the pass out, whatever. He had one incompletion that was thrown behind Jawan Jennings, who still had a shot to catch the ball. And then you had a drop from Jordan Mason. Cam Latu is also back. All right, so just a reminder that Cam Latu is back in practice as well. Not a ton of highlight throws, just a good solid rhythm today. And this is what I need from the Niners. This is why you got to be here. You got to be in camp. You got to be there, because the Niners offense is probably, and I'm not saying that any other offense isn't like this, but I don't think there's any other offense in the NFL, maybe Miami, but I feel like they still got a bunch of big plays, right? The Niners offense is all about timing. It's all about timing. So when guys are missing, it just throws off the timing. It really does, and it makes it a little bit more difficult. So got to pay attention to that. Just real quick, we are 6 away from the goal from the live call-in show. So if you want us to reach that live call-in show, we need 6 more super chats at $5 a piece. All right, so get those in there. All you got to do is click on that goal target thing. It'll take you straight to the prompts. Make sure you guys do that. All right. All right, so let's get back to Nick Wagner. All right, on the offensive line, because I think this is where everybody cares about. He says things are normalizing with Aaron Banks back at left guard. Dominic Puni continues to get the work at right guard. Jake Brendel was back at center, and John Feliciano getting some snaps. So, is there a battle going on between Feliciano and Brendel at the center spot? Oh, I love these. I like to read this. This is really cool. He says hard to tell if there's competition there or if it's simply a matter of getting Feliciano needed snaps at the center position while also preserving Brendel, who dealt with knee tendonitis in the spring. I think there's competition. That's just my thing. All right. I think there's competition. Quarterback Brandon Allen and wide receiver Ricky Pearsall hooked up for a big gain over the middle in the early team period. Purdy had an interesting note on Pearsall and his presser and how it takes some time to get on the same page. See? Like, it takes some time. Now, will this affect if Brandon Aiyuk continues to hold out? Will Purdy and Aiyuk be on the same page? I think it's going to take time. I think Purdy has progressed. I think he's gotten stronger. He might get quicker with his throws. We don't know. We don't know. So he's not there to find out. All right. Here's something that I wanted to highlight because I know I'm a biased mother. Right? I'm biased. I am. I'm biased. I've just realized that I was biased. I'm going to be biased to the day our mother die. Like, I'm biased. Here we go. Let me read this verbatim. It was another strong day. I'm going to go and read that again. It was another strong day for wide receiver Ronnie Bell. Everybody has been throwing Ronnie Bell under the bus, and I've just kept my mouth shut because I know he's going to show up and show out when his number is called. Is he a returner? Absolutely not. Can he do it? Yeah, but it ain't good. But is he a wide receiver? 100 mother trucking %. He's what he does. He's a wide receiver, right? Now, I know he got to do other things to get on this roster. Another strong day for Ronnie Bell, who is starting to string some good practices together. Bell has shown a knack for making some contested catches and had a couple of more today, including one where he held onto a pass from Josh Dobbs despite tight coverage from Rocky Sin. The top 4 wide receiver spots for now are spoken for. Aiyuk, Debo, Jennings, and Pearsall. Top 4 spots. If the Niners go 6, that means there's 2 more spots left. Potentially, they may go 7, depending on who stands out in camp. But a possible 6th spot is really shaping up to be a tight battle. I wonder where you guys heard this before. I'm sure there's this guy from New Haven, Connecticut that said that the 6th spot is the tough spot and the 5th spot. Like, I just feel like the 5th spot is going to go to depending on the injury, it's going to go to Jake McCown. So that 6th spot, going to be tough. But I feel like I put these guys in here. Possible 6th spot is really starting to shape up between Bell, Conley, and Trent Taylor. Well, betcha by mother freaking golly wow. You got 2 veterans and a second-year player that has to beat out the veterans. What will separate them? That's the key. Now, I'm going to stop here. Oh, I got another Michigan take. Sorry. Whatever. Not sorry. Special teams note, Jake Moody opened practice by working on special teams. Coach Brian Schneider calls dirty kicks. In other words, kicks that may bounce or land before the end zone and inbounds, but not necessarily catchable for the returner. So they got Jake Moody working on dirty kicks, a.k.a. specialty kicks, a.k.a. kick the ball so it could drop in front of the guys so that your guys could get down there and crack them. Bam. All right, cool. He says this seems to be early leaning on how to combat the new kickoff returns, but still a work in progress. Moody had 1 field goal attempt from 38 yards, and he made it. All right, and he made it. All right. Pearsall, Bell, and Taylor continue to get the work as primary punt returners. That's certainly going to be the part of the equation. All right, and because that was what I was going to ask everybody, so that's the Day 10 recap. Man, Nick Wagner, you wrote a book. Man, appreciate the book, man. Everybody give Nick Wagner a round of applause. If you're not following him, go ahead and give him a follow. All right, cool. Here we go. ESPN 49ers beat writer Nick Wagner. I got time, so I hope you guys got time. We're going to talk about Brandon Aiyuk shortly after this. Here's the crazy thing. I love Chris Conley. Like, I know y'all know that, right? I love him to death. He made some big plays. He was a great special teams gunner. With the new kickoff rules, though, does that change? Because they can't take off until the ball is caught, right? So do the gunners still? I don't know if they have the same responsibility on the new kickoff. I don't know. But we do know that was something that made him stand out and got him reps as a wide receiver. So if the Niners are veering away from that, Ronnie Bell is second to none. Like Ronnie Bell and Mike and Chris Conley, I feel like are the same player, right? So did you go with the guy that you're gonna have to give guaranteed money if he makes this 53-man roster, or do you cut? See, I already know. I already know what's gonna happen. We got a super chat contribution from Peachy as well. Happy about Pooney, and that makes me smile. AKA Big Pun. Everyone knows I love the O-line. Yeah, because Peachy wants to spend all the 49ers salary cap, all $267 million of it on the offensive line. We don't need no star players. We don't need nothing. Just give me all offensive linemen. Hey, if you play Madden, though, they got some offensive linemen that are like wide receivers and safeties. I got them in my lineup. So it's just weird, man. Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm not mad. Luke the Don has a question. I tell you what, Luke, I'll save that for the end of the show. All right? I got you, bro. I got you. All right. Looks like Jackson Peachy says we're going to get to this goal. I like that. You guys are rocking. The kickoff rule looks so weird. I want to see what it does. I'm with you 1,470%. I need to see it more. That one game wasn't enough because when it first happened, it was cool. It was like, okay. And then they just started messing up. It was a bunch of penalties. But you know what's crazy, Jax? I think every team is going to look different. So that's what we're going to have to kind of like get into. Like every team is going to look a little bit different. What's the new kickoff rule? Oh my gosh. Really? All right. Save that for the end of the show as well. All right. So here we go, because we got some kickoff questions. I do want to talk about Brandon Aiyuk, because this is where it's going to hit the fan. Now, I think, with what's going on, I'm going to stand on that I don't know anything. Let me just put this out there. I am not an insider. I am not a source. My source is up there, right? And so I'm just telling you what I believe, okay? Because I have faith. I thought that's who we were. So I have faith, and I believe that Brandon Aiyuk will be a 49er in 2024. I'm going to leave it at that. I believe it. Because there's ways the Niners can still get it done even if they don't reach an extension. Hear me out. Now, what went down, yesterday, 49ers, I would say the lead beat writer for the 49ers, great guy, Matt Mayoko, for NBC 49ers, he put out something, and I definitely want to share it so I can read it. And that way, I don't get anything wrong. I don't like to be wrong. So let's share the screen. Let's get what he stated, and we'll read both of the things. All right. So this is what he said. He said, hold on a second, because I got to blow it up. Pause. We're going to go with the bottom thing because that's what he talked about first, because he wrote the article. He says, with contract talks between Brandon Aiyuk and the 49ers continuing to stall, Miyoko explains why the San Francisco 49ers could end up trading the all-pro receiver. And then he went in, if you read the article, check it out, it's a great article. He goes in and talks about how the 49ers could potentially or possibly trade Brandon Aiyuk. Now, we all know that this doesn't make any sense for the 49ers, especially now. It doesn't matter if they trade Brandon Aiyuk for a pick or a player. Now, the player situation doesn't make any sense to me, period. Because let's just talk about who are some of the trade candidates that just popped out. We know Pittsburgh wants Brandon Aiyuk. Like, we know that, right? Like, and I just don't see that happening, but you got to put them in there as a team, possibly. They're an AFC team. I can tell you right now, if Brandon Aiyuk is traded, won't be to an NFC team. All right, that's number one. All right, so we got Steelers. But the Cleveland Browns came out of nowhere. We knew New England possibly would have did something. So the Niners during the draft time, teams, we heard that the report came out that New England offered up a second-round pick. Niners were like, hell no. It's not enough. It's not enough. So, for me, I think it's got to be a first-round pick, but if we're talking Cleveland Browns, because that's the report that's coming out right now, we talk about the Cleveland Browns, now we got to have a conversation. Matt Maiocco went back and said, I've stated, this is on his account now, for a while that I didn't see any scenario in which the 49ers would trade him. Now I believe it's a legitimate option. In a lot of ways, the ball is in Aiyuk's court, and that's what we're going to talk about right here. I feel like I just did a church sermon right here. Like I feel like I just set you up for a church sermon. The ball is in Aiyuk's court. What does that mean? Here's what I think happened. I think Aiyuk, first of all, I believe, not Aiyuk, I have not spoken to him. I believe with all of my heart that Aiyuk wants to be a 49er. And here's why. Let's just say that the Cleveland Browns is willing to pay Aiyuk. Let's say New England. Agent spoke. Agent says, Aiyuk, yo, these two teams are willing to pay you $30 plus million a year. Now, Brandon Aiyuk's got to look at some options where he has to move his family cross country. I get it. That's something you got to think about. The weather, it's going to be different. New England weather is crazy. Cleveland weather is crazy. I'm just talking about these two teams. And so, he has to go through that. But here's the thing. If those two teams, and let's say for the 49ers to even make this happen, because remember, Brandon Aiyuk doesn't control any of this. He doesn't control anything. He has zero control. The only thing Brandon Aiyuk can do is hold out. And the only person that does hurt the team, but the team can find a way to move on. But it really hurts him in the long run, because if he holds out, he gets fined, and he doesn't get the accrued season, which means, guess what? Next year, he'll be back on the fifth-year option, right? So he doesn't win in any type of scenario unless him and John Lynch are cool, and John Lynch keeps up his cool track record and looking out for the players moving forward. That's what John Lynch does. If John Lynch doesn't do anything else, he looks out for the players he cares about. He does. He did it for DeForest Buckner. He did it for Navarro Bowman. He did it for, just think of the players. He did it for, I'm going to say Eric Reed. He did it for the players. He made sure that if they traded him, they traded him. You know what I mean? He was going to do it for Jimmy. At the end of the day, when you look at Brandon Aiyuk, I don't think the 49ers want to trade him. But what Matt Maiocco is probably saying, and a lot of people have said this probably before Matt Maiocco, is there are teams out there that are willing to offer what Brandon Aiyuk is asking for. Because Brandon Aiyuk did his homework. He did his research. He came back to the table. Hey, this team is saying they're giving me this. So then John gets on the phone and says, yo, what are you going to give us? And then they hit him with the payment. And John's like, would you give us a first? Because that's the only way. Even though it doesn't help you now, a first-round pick, to me, is the only way. You got Brandon Aiyuk in the 20s. Let's say Cleveland finishes where they're drafting in the 20s. That's kind of like where you're replacing it, and you're just saving yourself the money to where you're not paying a wide receiver. But the Niners prepared themselves for this, and a lot of people don't believe it. But the Niners prepared themselves. How did they do that? Well, let's see. They drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round and Jacob Cowing in the fourth round last year in the draft, with Brandon Aiyuk under contract and Deebo Samuel under contract. So they prepared themselves life after B.A. I don't think that the Niners want B.A. gone. I think the Niners say, B.A., we want you here, but this is the price. And they're not budging. So let's say the price is between $26 to $28 million. Let's say the price is between let's say the price range, let me change it a little bit. No, Start at 26. I think that's where the Niners will start. Let's say it's between 26 and 28.5. I don't think the Niners are going higher than like that 28.5. They probably want to pay like 28.3. It's real petty like that. But let's just say that's the price range. And Brandon Aiyuk is saying to himself, well, why is that the price range if I'm a top receiver in the league? Now, I'm going to ask everybody to remove the emotions from this stuff and just focus on the business part, because that's the part that sucks. That's what's going on. It's strictly business. And I know a lot of people are like, well, it's about the team. Yeah, like if it's about the team, then the Niners need to make sure that they secure a key piece, right? But the Niners aren't willing to pay for that key piece. And so you can't, the Niners ain't thinking about Brandon Aiyuk and about the team. They're thinking about the team financially. So we can't get mad if the team is thinking about themselves financially and Brandon Aiyuk is thinking about himself financially. It's the same thing. It's nothing. It's the same thing. Here's what happens if Brandon Aiyuk doesn't get the extension. Aiyuk will play, and God forbid he breaks his leg. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. But if that happened, guess what? Brandon Aiyuk is broke as a joke. He'll get his guaranteed $14.1 million, but next year is going to be really hard for him to get a contract. I don't think people understand that. It would be coming off a broken leg. Now you got to go sign a 1-year deal somewhere or take this crazy huge-ass discount from San Francisco. And Brandon Aiyuk is at the top. He's not even peaking. He just had a peak season to where it's time to pay him. That's the issue with the payment. Like that's why it's tough. That's why it's not super easy. Because the Niners are like, hey man, we don't use you like these guys. And Brandon Aiyuk's like, well, it ain't my fault. I'm not telling you not to use me, because if you did, I would do what these guys are doing. That's the holdup. Let's just keep it a buck. But here, go back to the beginning of what I said. I believe that Brandon Aiyuk wants to be a 49er, and I never told you why. Here's why. If the Cleveland Browns and the New England Patriots or any other team is willing to pay him $30 million plus, why is his ass not on the next jet airplane over there handling that business and saying, okay, let's get this done and give the Niners what they're asking for? That's the only thing. I would have made sure that those teams know that I'm coming. Now, I'm not saying he's not doing this, but we're not hearing about any of this type of stuff, right? To me, I feel like it's clear that Brandon Aiyuk wants to be a 49er. I think he just wants to make his money at home. He wants to be a Niner. It's clear, but he wants to make the money as a Niner. He doesn't want to make the money as a Cleveland Brown or a New England Patriot, where his opportunity will give him a better opportunity to be a true number one guy. But I mean, what about winning and the opportunity of winning? And so as the fan base, we can't be all caught up. We shouldn't be all caught up to where like, yo, this dude is just trying to get the most amount of money he could get while he can get it. These players don't play long. Okay? And everybody's forgetting this is Brandon Aiyuk's first contract. And I'm always player first. Get your bread. Like, I get it. Y'all don't, maybe many don't understand it, but they only get one opportunity to get this contract. And that first one is the one that they really try to milk. I think for Brandon Aiyuk, it's like he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Brandon Aiyuk didn't ask the 49ers to sign trade for a Christian McCaffrey, find a way to extend. He didn't ask for any of that, but he played his role, and he did what he was asked to do, and he proved that he was an all-pro guy. Second team all-pro, still all-pro, still put up phenomenal numbers without being a number one option. I think that's Brandon Aiyuk's only kind of like, to me, only argument in this, to hold them down. And I don't know how much weight that holds, but I feel like for Aiyuk, that's it. So the question is, the choice is his. Like, what will Aiyuk choose? Will he choose the 49ers deal? Will he choose to say, I'm not going to show up, y'all going to have to trade me and cause the distraction? Like what will he choose? So when Matt Mayoko said the ball is in his courts, I think the deal's right there on the table. I don't know if 26 million is too low. It ain't too low for me. I tell you right now, I love y'all, but if the Patriots organization said, "Hey, I want you to cover the New England Patriots and I'm gonna pay you $100,000," I'm not gonna stop being a 49er fan. I ain't gonna start cheering my team on. I'm gonna go work. That's gonna pay me $100,000. And you understand what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Like I get it. And a lot of us don't know these guys' upbringings, where they came from. And you can't compare Brandon Aiyuk to Nick Bosa, Brock Purdy, and Trent Williams. You can't. You can't compare a wide receiver to a quarterback, a defensive end, edge rusher, and a motherfucking offensive tackle. You can't. The position alone is worth the most in the NFL. Those three positions are the highest paid positions at some point in the NFL. Teams are paying wide receivers now. The market is high. So teams, if you want a top receiver, you're going to pay market price. How many times we go over the seafood people, the seafood lovers out there, and you go to a seafood restaurant and it's either you're going to pay market price for your lobster rolls or you're not going to eat them. Like, you want a lobster roll, you're going to pay market price. It's just kind of like what it is. So the Niners, to me, aren't willing to pay the market price, and Brandon Aiyuk is trying to get the market price. I think that's the only way, or the best way I can kind of like give it to you. And that's why we are here. I'm going to go back and say I believe it's going to happen. I just do. I just feel like this is what the Niners do. This is how they conduct business. They give you the runaround. I think they put certain things out there for us to kind of like lose our minds over, lose faith over. And at the end of the day, they shaking hands, happen to being friendly, because they knew all along it was about to go down. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll stand on it. I have no problems standing on me being wrong. That's not what it is. But guys, please don't put words in my mouth. I never said Brandon Aiyuk signed or was about to sign. I said it's a potential that this deal could go down. Will it go down? I even posed it as a question once Colin Cowherd said what he said. It was a question. It was just a question. Look at the words. Watch the shows. It'll give you the insight on really what I'm trying to say. I'm live just about everywhere. So watch the shows. I really do my best in trying to break stuff down. Will Brandon Aiyuk be here? I don't know. Will he choose to play for the 49ers? I feel like he doesn't have a choice. It's either play or sit. Because at the end of the day, the 49ers don't have to trade him. They don't have to trade Brandon Aiyuk, man. And Aiyuk knows that. They don't have to trade Brandon Aiyuk. But like I said, if John Lynch, I was about to say John Chapman, if John Chapman or John Lynch decide to say, Brandon Aiyuk, you've been a stand-up guy. Listen, man, we'll look to move on from you if that's what's going to be best for you. That's where that potential trade is coming in. That's where the Matt Mayoko report is coming in, because he knows the relationship John Lynch has with his players. He knows that John Lynch tries to look out for the guys that he cares about. You think we're still mad at the DeForest Buckner trade, but he also sent DeForest Buckner to a place where he can contest, still be dominant in the league, get paid more money, and possibly get to the Super Bowl. It hasn't panned out that way, but they took care of DeForest Buckner, guys. I know we might not agree, but they did. Niners got money. What would they do? I don't know. At the end of the day, I still feel like Brandon Aiyuk is going to be here, and I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later. We're 5 away from our goal. It's okay. We'll try a goal on another episode. Let me get to a couple of these questions, and then I got to dip up out of here, y'all. All right, couple more questions, and I got to dip up out of here. All right, so let's see. I starred some of them, so let me see where I am. Luke the Don says, quick question. Kind of off topic, but how will onside kick work with the new kickoff rule? Man, I'm still trying to figure this stuff out, man. You got to remember, none of us has, the first time we've even seen the kickoff rule happen was on last week, right? Last Thursday. That was the first time we saw it. So it was just like, how does the kickoff rule work if they got to kick the ball, wait for the player to actually touch it? This is what you're asking me. because that's the rule. Like Purdy has to touch the ball for the other guys to move. Do they remove the onside kick? You can't remove the onside kick, right? I don't know. I think you and I will figure it out. Like once we see a team try it, I would love to see it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would love to see it. Patabo wants to know what's the new kickoff rule. Oh, bro. Like I can't even explain it to you. It's but basically in layman's terms, the kick-off team has to wait for the ball to land either on the ground, I believe, or for the player to catch it. I could be wrong. And then they could kind of like take off. And then you got guys starting at a certain spot to where on the kick return team, they can't move until the ball is touched. It's a bunch of mess. The whole purpose of the rule, though, is to ensure safety, less concussions, less injuries, and things like that. So I think over time it will absolutely do that. Once they learn how to conform to the new kickoff rule, like, you know what I mean? All right. So that's kind of like, you know, what the rule is. It's just a change. If you want to go and watch, just go watch the preseason game if you can. You'll see what it looks like from an NFL perspective. But if you want more views of what it looks like, you got to go watch is it XFL? I think that's what the other football league is called. You got to watch that because that's the rule. That's the rule they're implementing. We got a super chat from my brother Corey Soto. He's in the building. He says, all due respect, Wayne. You get the cha-ching sound. He says, I think you're wrong about this one. The Niners seem willing to trade him more than ever. Now it's more likely he's gone. And I'm okay with being wrong. UFL, my bad. I'm okay with being wrong. I'm fine with it. I just, you know, I feel like if the Niners are going to trade him, the question is, did they lower their price? So if they lowered their price, then I'm 100% in agreement. I agree that the Niners are willing to trade him. I still don't believe they will. That's all I'm saying. So I believe that they're willing to. I believe that they're listening to teams that are trash. By the way, he ain't gonna go to no contender. The Niners ain't trading him to Pittsburgh and then got to possibly face Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin in the Super Bowl. Hell no. He ain't going there. So I believe like that the Niners are definitely willing to listen, whatever. But I think that at the end of the day, Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, the Niners are in control. They decide where he goes. It's not like Brandon Aiyuk has a no trade clause, which would make it a little bit more tough, right? So, yeah, you're right. I believe they're willing to trade him. I just don't believe that they will. I believe they get it done. That's all I'm saying. So thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's saying the Browns. I'm not trading him for Amari Cooper. I'm sorry. How many games does Amari Cooper average playing a year? 2? And a possible? Hell no. That's like having 2 Debos. They like I can't. I need them on the field at least for 15 of the 17 games. I can't. Can you imagine not having Debo and Amari Cooper missing? And just no. That's why I love y'all. I can't. Great receiver. Love him if he ain't on the Niners. I do understand it though. It doesn't make sense, but I understand it if that makes any type of a sense whatsoever. Here's the thing. If I'm not mistaken, Amari Cooper has what? $8 million left on his contract this year. He's looking for a contract extension with the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if Amari Cooper, is he going to need an extension and play, I don't know. He's an older receiver. So for me, it does help the Niners now, though. That's the thing. It will help the Niners now being in Super Bowl mode. It will help him now if he can get on the field and be healthy. Because if not, it ain't helping us at all. The only thing it will help us financially because you would save about $6 million this year. 14.1 minus, let's say 14.1 minus 9. You'll save that amount of money. on a 1-year deal, but the Niners wouldn't be looking to extend him past this season. And I don't know what if Amari Cooper's looking for an extension. So it's weird. It's weird. Now, is there any other players on the Browns I might be willing to trade if you talk about a player and a pick? Because the Niners are going to want a player and a pick. All I can think is defensive players. And I don't think they're going to give up any of those defensive guys. And the Niners are going to have to pay those defensive guys. I don't know. I feel like the Niners are more equipped to paying defensive players. So if you're going to go pay a defensive player, then go to the New England Patriots, get Matthew Judon, sign him on, and have an elite edge rushing group. Figure it out. Doesn't make sense again because now you got to pay him, right? He's holding in too. That would be my and get a second round pick. Get a second round pick or a third round pick in Matthew Judon and call it a day. I would do that. I think I would do that over the Cleveland Browns straight up player. But I think that it's not going to be a straight up. It's going to be a pick and a player for the 49ers. Like they're going to need a pick and a player. They might even have to give something back in return depending on how great that player is. But both of those players that I named are older, too, by the way. And they're both looking for contracts. So we'll see what happens, man. You guys want Adams. Whew. You want Adams. Lake City says, give us Njoku. That would be a great tight end room. But it would be Njoku in a pick. Like, you're still going to need a pick. What's the pick compensation? Like, what can the Niners use in 2025? Yeah, they can use Njoku now, but what can they use in 2025? I feel like it would be him in a third rounder. It'll be Amari Cooper. It might be Amari Cooper in a fourth. I don't know the pick compensation. It's going to be crazy. I could tell you now. I don't think Judon is injured. I think he's coming off of an injury. He's at camp, but he's holding in if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong, Leon. You know me. I'm always wrong, so it don't matter. Everybody keeps saying Peachy and Ramsey trade for offensive line. Do y'all know how hard it is to trade for offensive linemen? Do y'all know it was by the grace of God that the Washington Commanders traded Trent Williams? Do you know why they traded Trent Williams? They didn't want. First of all, they messed up. That was number one. They wanted to clear themselves from messing up. Number two, they weren't going to pay Trent Williams. They didn't. They were trying to rebuild. They didn't have the money. They wanted to focus on defense. That's what it is. So we took it. We took that on. That was kind of lucky, right? So we got lucky there. I don't think you're gonna get anybody great in a trade. I know, because most teams need offensive linemen. They're not going to give up a great offensive lineman for a great weapon. It doesn't make sense. We need that offensive lineman so that our weapons can be great. I just don't see that happening. We're going to have to figure that out via draft. Hope some of the players that we have here just develop and figure out how to get Trent Williams' ass here. Tisa with a super chat. She says, well, on another note, I'm going to the preseason game this Saturday in Nashville. Go Niners. Shout out to everybody out there that's going to the preseason game in Nashville. You guys rock. Have a great time. You guys are going to have fun. I've never been to this particular stadium. I was supposed to go the year of COVID, and then I felt like I got COVID, and then I raffled off the ticket, so I couldn't go to the stadium. I've never been in Nashville, but enjoy Nashville. Enjoy the game. Have a great time. Listen, on the B.A.M show today at 4 p.m., Mike and I will be here. We're going to be doing a giveaway. We are going to give away a ticket to tomorrow's training camp session. Is going to be random, so make sure you're here and make sure you guys are subscribed, because the only way you can participate is if you're a subscriber to the channel. So if you're new, click that subscribe button. Shout out to our sponsors over at Residency. Thank you so much. Shout out to every one of you. Give yourselves a round of applause. You guys have been on motherfucking point. The chat is always crazy. If you're watching on any other stream platforms, thank you. But please come on over to that YouTube so you can be a part of the community. And, they can big you up. All right. I love y'all. Have fun. Tomorrow is my 10-year anniversary. So I don't think I'm doing any streaming tomorrow. I'm going to probably be celebrating all day. So tomorrow I'll be off, but I'll be back Wednesday. We didn't reach our goal, so it won't be a call-in show, but we'll bring you another WayneBreezie show. I'll see you guys tonight. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the B.A.M show, and then 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nitty Gritty Niners. We're probably gonna have more Aiyuk talk. So if you like it, if you're ready, strap in your seatbelt, get back, and let's go for the ride, man. Love y'all. Enjoy yourselves. Peace out. Until the next time, faithful. Stay up, baby. We got this, man. Niners are coming together. They're coming together. Hold on.
So bright that we shine. All we do is the Niners. Ready, go, that is fine. So faithful to the bay. I be sipping gold bar whiskey on the rocks, and a 24 karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy be tipping non-stop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. WayneBreezie on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. WayneBreezie, the 4-9 preacher. We so bright that we shine.